Hey guys, Pro1701 here, and today we are discussing part 2 of my top 10 classic Doctor Who villains I would like to see return in the modern series. Now, in our first video, we discussed the bottom 5 on the list. If you have not seen that video, I suggest checking it out. Hopefully I remembered to put a link to that down in the description below. Click on that and check that list out, and then pop back right over here. We're going to discuss the top 5 on the list, and one of them has actually been in Modern Who before, but I would like to see them in it again. At number 5, we have the Autons. And yes, the Autons have been in Modern Who, and they have been done justice in Modern Who. One of the great things about the Autons is they've never had a bad story, because they're used very sparingly. They basically show up twice in Classic Who, twice in Modern Who. All 4 of those stories, they've been utilized very well. I would like to see them come back again, but only if it's a story that does them justice, which basically means after the current showrunner leaves, and hopefully we get in a new showrunner. So this one can wait a couple years. But I would love to see the Autons come back. I'd love to see them as the villain again, probably. But who knows? Maybe you could do a twist where there's a good Auton. Anything's possible. Who knows? I really like what they did with Rory as an Auton. When that kind of twist popped up, that was really good. But I would like to see the Autons back. Again, they've never had a bad story, and I just like them as characters. And would love to see them back again. Number 4 is the Primoids, I believe is what they're called. The Primoids from Inferno. I love Inferno. It's one of my favorite Doctor Who stories of all time. It's my favorite Pertwee story. It's the second Doctor Who story I think I ever bought on DVD. And it's one of the ones I have earliest memories of. And I just love the fact that they're not aliens. They come from an ooze down inside of the earth that somehow came up. Well, it came up in Inferno because they were drilling. But this ooze, when it comes in contact with the human, just changes them into these creatures. Those green kind of werewolf-looking creatures. They're basically werewolves. And if they touch you, you catch the disease and you turn into one too. And I find them fascinating. And I think the effects of them look pretty good for the 70s. But I would love to see them like with modern effects. And there's even a precedent for them coming back. Because in Inferno, the Doctor references having heard that noise they make, that sound they make, that guttural sound at Krakatoa. The colony nobody knows what happened to. Apparently he goes for the thing that, what was it, a volcano eruption or something? Somehow that ooze came up at Krakatoa, and that's how that eruption there is what caused the ooze to come up and happen to all the people, and that's what happened to everybody. So there's a precedent that this could happen before, and I like the fact, again, it's not aliens, it's something from within the earth causing this. And I would love to see that little slime come back and start infecting people again, because I love Inferno. It's so good. Although, again, I don't know if I'd want the current showrunner to mess with it. I don't really like Chibnall. I don't want him to ruin it. Number 3 on the list is the Valeyard. This dark version of the Doctor, we've never really found out what happened to him. I mean, we know he's still around at the end of Trial of a Time Lord, not counting any of the Big Finish stuff. Just going by Trial of a Time Lord, we know he's still around at the end of it. So I would love to see him come back, just again to see the Doctor match wits with him, to find out some evil plan he has, maybe for trying to steal the Doctor's regenerations again. I just think there's so much you could explore with this sinister, dark version of the Doctor. We kind of got that with the Dream Lord in Amy's Choice, the Dream Lord was the best part of that episode. It wasn't a good episode, but he was good in it. So I'd love to see some of that back, the Doctor versus kind of his dark half. I would love to see that again. Number 2 on the list is the Ronnie. I would like to see the Ronnie come back. I'd love to see a modern take on her. I know they are doing some Big Finish stuff with that, but I'd love to see her surprise show up in the show again unexpectedly, just to see kind of how they flesh her character out for the modern series. I love the fact that she's basically a scientist with no scruples. The ends justifies the means for her. I'd really like to see them focus on that and kind of see the lengths she'll go through to achieve her goals. Like I said, I just think she's an interesting character and would love to see the modern series take her and flesh her out more. And number 1 on the list is Morbius. I love me some Morbius. This is one bad dude, you get the impression. I mean, he's like an evil Time Lord that can trump the Master in ways. I mean, the Time Lords were so scared of Morbius They captured him and then just separated his body into parts and scattered them across time and space, basically. He was dangerous to them. I think he led a resurrection or insurrection or something like that. He had armies going against him. He was one bad dude. He's kind of like, I guess, what the modern series version of the Master is, since the Master can apparently destroy Gallifrey now somehow. Chibnall. But I love Morbius. I love the brain of Morbius. It's a great story. I love his will to live despite the body he's stuck in. I love the fact that when him and the Doctor have their mental duel, despite the fact that Morbius is in that slapped together Frankenstein body, he still manages to actually win the contest with the Doctor, because he wins. I mean, he doesn't win by a lot, but the Doctor's unconscious. He loses. He gets knocked out. He's on the ground. Morbius, while damaged and hurt, is still going. He's still moving. So I always count that as Morbius won that duel. And it just goes to show that if he can beat the Doctor in a mental duel in that state, imagine how dangerous he was at his peak when he was still in his normal regeneration body, his original body with all of his regenerations, how deadly he was. I mean, he even boasted how strong he was. So I would love to see Morbius come back. Somehow, I'd love to see him in a normal body back more toward the peak of his power when he's just dangerous and deadly. I would love to see more of Morbius. He's definitely the classic Doctor Who villain I want to see come back in the modern series, if done right. So that has been my top 10 list of villains from Classic Who I would like to see come back. Who would you like to see? What would you think of Morbius coming back? I'm really curious about that. So comment down below with let me know what you think of my list, what you agree with, what you don't agree with, what you would like to see if perhaps the next showrunner gets a crack at it instead of the one who's there now. I always enjoy interacting with you guys and finding out what you think. Other things to do: click the like button, click the subscribe button, click that bell for notifications. I have started a Patreon page. If you would like to contribute to that, you will find a link to that down below as well. Most importantly, though, stay safe out there, and thank you for watching.